Welcome to the Sonny Hirsch Election Special. Glad you joined us. I'm your host, Avi Myers. We're going to be doing a series of shows. We've had so many requests from judges, and the fact of the matter is we want to be all-inclusive. We want everybody to have their shot on the air. I can't begin to tell you how important that judicial races are. You think your state senator is important, you think your alderman is important because that's your garbage and all the rest of it. But the fact of the matter is, if you're up in court, okay, and you're talking about your marriage, you're talking about your property, you're talking about your freedom, there's so many different things a judge can affect, and that's why it's so important to pay attention to the judicial races and to be able to get to find out who the people are that are running for judge. And we're happy to be able to do it, and we hope you're going to enjoy it. It is a pleasure to introduce you to the very first guest in this series, somebody running for the Circuit Court of Cook County, who is a standing judge, and that's Judge Lorna Propes. How are you?
Avi, thank you for having me.
First of all, thank you. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Okay, I'll be happy to do that. I have been a lawyer for 36 years. You can tell by the gray hair, right?
Okay.
And I started out as an assistant state's attorney in Cook County, and then left that office after 5 years in the trial division, 4 or 5 years, and went to start a private practice with some other colleagues from the state's attorney's office. And what I did for my career for over 3 decades was represent people. So I represented individuals, mostly in cases of injury. So whether it was injury by a faulty product or an automobile crash, medical malpractice, or civil rights violations, I took those people's cases to court. So I really had a professional lifetime in the courtroom. And then I think I can say that I developed a pretty good reputation as a trial lawyer. And from that, I was fortunate to be asked to represent several corporations that needed trial lawyers. And I represented Judicial pharmaceutical company, Dow Chemical, Dow Corning. I've represented the Chicago Bears. So
wow.
There you go.
It's big time stuff.
Well, the importance of it, I think, Avi, is that my background in the law is really so diverse. And the cases I had, some were very simple, others were very sophisticated, and it was just a broad range of cases in all areas of the practice. I did some criminal defense work as well, especially early on. When you first leave the state's attorney's office, you take about anything that walks in the door. But then that practice became focused more on a plaintiff's personal injury, and then I branched out and did some of the, as I say, some of the corporate representation in mass tort and class action cases. But I always returned to my basic love, which was representing individuals and taking their cases to court. Because it was, I believe, important work to speak for someone, to have their financial security, their future, sometimes their very survival in your hands. And that's the work I did. And that's why I think I was asked to serve as a judge, and I've been a judge now for 1.5 years, having been appointed by the Illinois Supreme Court. And now I'm running to keep my seat. That's it.
And you like it?
I love it. Interestingly, it's really 180 degrees different from being a lawyer, because as a lawyer, you're taking a side and advocating for it. And as a judge, there are 2 people taking different sides and advocating for them, and you have to make a decision. Those kinds of decisions really don't come your way that much as a lawyer. So right away you realize, wow, this is a little bit different focus, and you kind of have to adjust. But of course, the background in the practice of law and the diversity of a background in the practice of law, the actual being there as a lawyer in different kinds of cases in front of different kinds of judges. Actually, I've tried cases and I've been admitted in 5 other jurisdictions for trial of cases. So all of that is a part of the package that brings me to the job, and I love the job. It's great.
No, it sounds great. I'm curious, what kind of, each part of law takes a different type of skill, I would imagine. What kind of skills do you need to be a good trial lawyer?
Well, I think that the skills you need to be a trial lawyer, there are many. Interestingly, when young people ask me today, I'm going to college, I'd like to be a lawyer, what should I study? I tell them math and science. Because in this world today, when you go to court, particularly on major cases, they almost always implicate some aspect of math and science.
Wow.
For example, medical negligence cases. I mean, I had cases, I don't know that I could name all the specialties I had to become a mini expert in order to do depositions and present my case in court. But, you know, if it's cardiology or gynecology or surgery or hematology, just it goes on. So, you know, a little background in chemistry, a little background in biology, those things really help you out. I even considered at one time going to the UIC and taking just an adult education course in chemistry because I felt so far behind. So that's what I say to young people. That's what you. But of course, to be a trial lawyer, you need to be someone who connects with people, someone who can speak in public, someone who has some confidence that way. Sure. I mean, that's an important part. The substantive side is hard work and exposure to lots of areas of the law, lots of areas of what goes on in society, all that kind of thing.
No, that sounds cool. Actually, one time I was actually accepted to law school, and I had the speaking part down. But when I was working for the Daily Defender, I was the token white guy for a short period of time, and I was covering cases, and I was reading it up in the law library. And to be honest, it was boring me to tears. And I asked my friends who were, you know, because I was working the whole time I was in school, who were further advanced. They said, "This is exciting stuff. If this bores you, you better stick to what you're doing."
Yeah, well, that's right. You kind of have to, you have to develop, and I think that's why so many people, excuse me, who want to be lawyers, they gravitate towards political science and history in undergraduate school because it is the same kind of interest. You know, that is something that would interest you if you were a history type of person, reading cases and finding out about things that had gone on in the past. So those things are kind of connected as well.
Yeah, also I had a very false idea of what the law was from watching The Defenders on TV with E.G. Marshall.
Yeah. Well, all the law things on TV are kind of different than what the reality is, I'll tell you that. I think a lot of people come to jury duty thinking, oh, this is going to be that way I saw it on Law and Order or some other thing that's on TV, and it isn't, of course.
We have that in community policing, too. People think everything works like Law and Order, and the cops have to tell them different.
Yeah, right, exactly. CSI and all the rest, yeah.
So you're countywide, you're hitting the campaign trail?
Countywide, going around seeing parts of the city and county I've never seen, which is fascinating, and meeting lots of great people. But I've been doing it since July. I mean, I knew since I was appointed that I was going to run, so really I think I kicked off my campaign in May. And just waited to see how it would shake out, and I did draw an opponent, and that's what I'm doing, trying to keep my job.
Very good. And you have very high bar ratings, I should point out.
Well, I'm very proud of my highly qualified rating from the Chicago Bar Association. I think the Chicago Council said well qualified. You know, that means a lot to me. But I think that my reputation in the community means a lot to me as well. I mean, I have great support from people who know my work. And I mean, I'm supported both by former Appellate Court Justice William Cousins, who I'm sure you've heard of and
Yes,
know,
I have.
and also by former Chief Justice Tom Fitzgerald. And that really honors me, even if a lot of people don't know who those people are. Justice Cousins was my first judge as an assistant state's attorney in felony court.
Wow.
And I was his first state's attorney, too, I think. It was his very first, there were three of us, of course.
Yeah.
And Justice Fitzgerald I've known since I was a young assistant state's attorney, and I tried a case before him when he was a trial judge. So people like that, and I feel really good about that and the support I've gotten from the community politically as well. And having been endorsed by the Democratic Party really put a spring in my step. Made me very happy to get that endorsement.
It's big-time stuff, no question
yes,
about it.
It was great.
Do you have a website?
I do. Lorna Propes for Judge.com. www, of course.
Right.
Is Lorna Propes for Judge. Yes, that's it.
Okay, I want to thank you very much, Judge Lorna Propes.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today, and good luck in the campaign.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
A pleasure.
Mm-hmm.